Welcome to your 20-minute podcast with David Brower, where we do our best to give you useful information in 20 minutes or less. Now, here's your host, 5-time Voice Arts Awards nominee, David Brower.
Thanks, Alan. This is David Brower with your 20-minute podcast. Our special guest today is Corbie Mitleid, and she is an author. Fascinating story. In fact, the thing that I like about so much of it is she's had 3 bouts of breast cancer. Don't take that the wrong way. 2 divorces, dysfunction, poverty, abuse, all that. But what she does with that is teach you how to do that, what you can do, what she did. And Corbie, it's thrilled to talk to you today. Welcome to the show.
It's great to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
You bet. One of the things I really love, I've never heard this before. I'm a cancer quote-unquote survivor myself, but I'm changing it to cancer dancer. Where did you come up with that? I love that.
Good man. The way I figured it is it's self-talk. When we talk about fighting cancer, what we fight fights back.
Right.
And a lot of people hear survivor and they think that you're like barely grasping on by teeth and toenails.
Yeah.
A cancer dancer finds out how graceful they are under pressure, avoids getting their toes stepped on, and gets off the dance floor in one piece. So I always say that I danced with cancer 3 times.
Oh, my
And
gosh.
I'm still here.
I got major goosebumps on that. I love that. I may not get the tattoo, but I will remember that. Cancer dancer, that's awesome. Thank you so much for coming up with that. I've never heard it anywhere else before.
That's because it was mine.
Well, yeah.
I used it.
Did you trademark it? You making a big
No.
money?
No, I didn't, because, once you've gone through cancer, you have the word volunteer tattooed across your forehead.
Yes, you do.
On the astral. And if those words can help somebody else dealing with cancer to get through it, have at it.
Well said.
Tattoo it on your forehead. Make yourself a pillow. It doesn't matter.
Absolutely. I know a lot of cancer dancers, and I'm going to encourage them with that phrase. It's fabulous. One of your great books you've got going out right now is Clean Out Your Life Closet. It's made up of 4 parts: clarity, adaptability, simplicity, and stress. What's the key that makes this book different from other those guru-type books?
Because I ain't a guru. I'm not someone who says my aura don't stink. Basically, think about it. We've all gone into Barnes & Noble or wherever,
Sure.
and we go to the self-help shelf, and we see these gorgeous covers and these sexy titles, and maybe we'll pull it out and we'll quick read a page or so. Wow, this sounds like it would work. We get it home, and we get about 10 pages into it, and this doesn't talk to me.
Yeah.
And it goes back on the shelf. I mean, we could paper our basements with these books.
Yep.
So what I did, I wrote it, so here's the stupid stuff I did. Here are a couple of client examples, but then at the end of every chapter, there are open-ended questions where you can specifically take what you just read that I wrote and make it work for your life.
What a concept.
If you do all the questions, by the end of that book, this is your personal journal, personal self-help book. Anybody else would read it differently.
Wow, what a great idea, because you're right. Any type of speaker thing I've gone to, convention thing I've gone to, any book I've picked up, it's all about the sales and marketing and not the meat. And once the sales and marketing grabs your attention and you look for the meat, well, it's still in the freezer. It's just not happening.
It's one of the reasons why you will not find the words should or must in the book more than 1 or 2 times.
Nice.
Because that if it should and must, and you're not doing exactly what the person said, I mean, to give you an example, Doreen Virtue wrote a book that said you must avoid these foods, you must go to the gym, you must do yoga. Well, I'm sorry. What if you're working 2 jobs,
Yep.
you can't afford the organic meats,
Yep.
and so her book is useless.
Absolutely.
Mine just says, here's some ideas. If they work for you, run with them.
And what a great idea, because all of those kinds of things, whether you're a cancer dancer or you're having poverty issues or relationship issues or health, anything that is a trouble in your life, you want to be able to find solutions, ideas that will help you personally, and that doesn't mean that the person writing the book understands your life.
Not at all.
So have you been out on the book tour with this and doing the Shake and Howdy and all that stuff?
Well, yes and no. I mean, this is an independently published book, so I don't have a big publishing house like Houghton Mifflin behind me. But Since my full-time work is that of a psychic medium and I'm on the road 40 weekends a year, the book always comes with me, and there are invariably some people that will buy the book, take it home, and I get a note, "This is amazing, it's changed my life." What more could you ask for?
Well, that's all you want. I mean, really, that's all you want, no matter what you're doing, no matter what you're doing in life. I think if everything in life is an opportunity, I firmly believe that. And if you have the opportunity to touch somebody and they touch somebody who touches somebody who touches somebody, you only need to hear about one of those to just feel like, wow, I hit a home run.
It's like the old butterfly effect. A butterfly in Africa could create a tornado in Iowa. You just don't know.
Yeah, absolutely right. So what was your motivation? Where did you go, I got to write this book because I can't find anything else there that speaks to me?
It wasn't because I couldn't find anything out there. It was a matter of words have always been what I call my drug of choice.
Nice.
And my father, who was my best friend and to whom the book is dedicated, said, "You must write a book. You've got it in you." And everyone who hears me speak or work, because I can string words together well, and I'm funny, they always say, "So have you written a book yet?" So I said, "All right, already, I'll write a book." And so I do blogs. And what I did is I decided one year I was going to pick one idea a month and write one article on them every week. And that created not only this book, but there are another two waiting to be written that will follow this one. And I chose the ideas that people asked me about most. How do I get clear on my life? How do I adapt my circumstances? How do I simplify things? And how can I make friends with stress? So that's what determined what the book was going to have.
Wow. Isn't that amazing? I mean, it sounds complicated, but it's not. I mean, you're just listening, and people are reaching out to you because you have some authenticity and some integrity that they trust, and they're willing to ask you those questions because they expect a simple, honest answer.
One of my favorite sayings is what most people need is a good listening to.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks they need to be talked to. No. How many of us don't get heard? And
Absolutely.
So this way, it was like, Hillary Clinton's listening tour. You tell me what you need, and I will listen and take notes, and then go back and see what I can find for you.
Yeah. Back in the day, and this was many generations or lifetimes ago in my mind, I used to teach radio advertising salespeople. And one of the first things I would teach them is, now remember, you have two ears and one mouth. Use them proportionately. Because salespeople so often just get in their own way. They love hearing their own voice and their own sales pitch and their own stuff. And there's so much of that in life today because of our, going 120 miles an hour and where's my immediate gratification and, I need to stop and listen to you. I don't know that I have time.
If you ask most people, and they're honest with you, they will admit they only hear about half of what you're going to say because the other half gets lost in their prepping their response.
Well said. Yep, exactly right. Goodness. And I don't think most people realize that. I think it's something that we do. I don't think we're cognizant of it, do you?
No, and a lot of it is the bombardment of information. 100 years ago, when the way you spoke to someone was by letter or face-to-face, you had all the time in the world. You were not on call with your boss 24/7. You were not expected, as a female, to work a 60-hour week and raise the family and do everything to improve yourself. We're trying to put 48-hour lives in 24-hour days, which is where the stress comes in and why people think there's no time to listen and think.
Amazing. I just got back from a 4-day, 3-night silent meditation retreat at a monastery here in Colorado. I'd never done that before, and to learn how to be silent was one of the most fascinating exercises I've ever done in my life because it just slowed everything down. I was able to hear so much better about just nature,
A little tougher than you thought it would be, I imagine.
I would imagine. It was. What was interesting was I had two questions going in. Will I be able to be present? And will I be able to turn off all the electronics that control my life today? And the electronics turned out to be fairly simple, and being present actually only took me a few minutes, so it shocked me, to be honest with you. And it was just an incredible experience. But to your point, the opportunity to be able to hear was really one of the payoffs, just to slow down enough to not only hear other people, but to hear myself. And What are you saying? I mean, does it really make sense? Are you just blowing smoke? What are you doing?
Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary?
There
The three things you ask yourself before you open your mouth.
Well said. Well said. Did you create that as well? It's a good one.
Good Lord, no. That's from Thich Nhat Hanh and the Dalai Lama.
That's awesome. Tell me that again. Tell me those three things.
Is it true?
Yep.
Is it kind?
Yep.
And is it necessary?
That's awesome. That is awesome. Clean out your life closet. And you take that around your full-time psychic medium? What is
Yes.
that exactly?
All right. Been reading since I was 18. I'm 64.
Mm-hmm.
I am a certified professional tarot reader with literally full certification, 3-hour oral exam, and it's because I've been reading since, Live and Let Die came out, and Spencer Gifts had the James Bond 007 tarot deck. We were all hippies. I am a past life specialist. I was one of Robert Schwartz's main channels in his book series about life between lives, Your Soul's Plan and Your Soul's Gift. Yes, I do spirit guides and angels, and yes, I'm a medium, but as I laughingly remind people, we're not dial-a-dead. If Aunt Mabel up there is on a field trip, she's not going to be by the phone.
Well said. Great line. One of the things I was fascinated in your story was how 9/11 has affected so many of us, but it affected your professional course too, right?
Yes, I had been doing this work part-time since 1994, when all of a sudden I could do hands-on healing and talk to dead people with no training. Figured that's when God was handing me my draft notice and saying, greetings, you're working for us.
Yeah.
But part-time is one thing. As Carl and I watched the towers burn, like all of us glued to the TV, I turned to him and I said, I must do this work full-time. People need to know there are other answers out there, because we all knew the world shifted permanently that day. And he said what he has put inside my wedding ring. I believe in you. Go do it.
And he is your hero. I like that too.
He is. Yep, 20 years.
That's awesome. Congratulations. And I think what's interesting, well, there's a lot of interesting things about what you do and what you say, but I think one of the really interesting things to me is your ability to just stop, capture the moment, and go, Carl, you know what? We're going to shift gears. You do that? You find yourself doing that in your life?
Yes, a couple of times. There are times when I just hit what I call a gratitude bubble. You stand outside. It's a gorgeous day. We live in the middle of a little hayfield with mountains around us, and you're just there. You're not thinking about what you have to write, the phone calls you have to make, what to make for dinner. You're just there.
Yeah. And
when you are aware of life and circumstances like that, you'll get that little intuition ping. This moment you have to grab. There's a change here. There's a shift. There's a crossroads. And, people can do what I do. I tell them that. I am not magic. I am not so special. But as we quiet down and we learn to listen, we will be more aware of these cross-point moments when we can see life could change in one direction or another. And we look and we choose instead of we just run blindly.
There you go. That's fascinating. And it is a matter of slowing down, isn't it? And paying attention. And
absolutely.
And looking at that multifaceted forks in the road, because it's just not left and right, although you'd like it to be that way sometimes.
No, it's roller coaster, no brakes most days.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. I'm a big fan of gratitude. In fact, I even had a gratitude tattoo. It's just been so important to me the last 12 years since I became a cancer dancer. And I can't espouse the joy of gratitude more than anything. It's an amazing gift if you can share it for just a couple of minutes with somebody,
Yes. It's passing on the magic.
Yeah, exactly right. Your other book is The Psychic Yellow Brick Road: How to Find the Real Wizards and Avoid the
Flying Monkeys.
Oh my God! If that's not a visual, I don't know what is.
And before anybody worries, yes, Wizard of Oz and L. Frank Baum, it's out of copyright. No one's going to catch me for that. But those are all the stories, the things that people want to know, because they've got so many wrong ideas about what psychics do, what they could do to them, etc. Yeah. So the book it's a handbook. Here's your basic boot camp about what we can do and how to have a good session. Here's when to run screaming. You do not want to be around this. Here are the kind of questions that we're not going to answer for you, so don't ask. And then spirit guides, angels, mediumship, and the last chapter is, so can I do this too? And I give them a couple of ways to start.
Nice.
But again, it's easy to read, it's funny, it's clear.
And when you do, you said something about questions that you don't want to ask. Wouldn't that be a way to kind of filter through, if you will, to see if somebody's actually authentic?
No, I will give you the example of what don't ask.
Okay, good.
Okay. Does Bruce love me? No. Well, is he going to love me? Not the way you want. Well, if I do this and this, is he going to love me? No. Is he going to call soon? No. Well, if he's not going to call soon, is he going to call later? You see, what they're doing is they're beating on the psychic so that eventually the psychic will say to them, yes, he loves you and he wants to have 7 babies with you, but he just doesn't know it yet. Oh, good.
Yeah.
No, don't do that to me. It's not going to happen.
I got a headache just thinking about it.
You think my job is easy, fella, let me tell you.
The other thing, there are many things about what I love what you do. And in listening to part of your audiobook, because you mentioned how funny you are, how well-spoken you are, and to be able to listen to your audiobook and have that authenticity and integrity and your humor come through, that was a nice treat.
Well, to me, anybody who's good can read a fiction book.
Yes.
But a nonfiction book should be read by the person who is passionate about those ideas and wants to get them across. And who better than the person who wrote it?
Exactly. I've done, 6 or 7 nonfiction books, and every time or voice them actually, and every time I interview somebody here on this show and I ask them if they've done an audio, go, well, no, I've been thinking about it. No, listen, you have to do the audiobook, and you have to do the audiobook because you're the expert.
Yes, but it always helps to have a little voice training, as you and I have had.
Well,
Sounds a little better.
It does, but what the heck? It's oftentimes, I have people ask, I'm a voice actor by profession, and people come up to me and I coach some people and they'll say, somebody told me I have the best voice ever and I should be a voice actor. And I'm going, really? That's interesting. What do you think a voice actor does? Well, they act with their voice. No, they don't. They communicate. Oh,
yes.
Really? That's it?
Have patience, Yoda. Little Padawans there need a little work.
Absolutely right. Fascinating. Clean out your life closet. Let's go back to that book for a moment. The Self-Development Project book, Volume 1, it would appear. And you mentioned you're working on a couple of others. How's the feeling about those? What's the timeline, if there is one? Well,
the timeline is we need to get a book deal because doing a self-published book like this is wildly expensive, and I've done 2, and I've also paid for the voiceover stuff. So at this point, it's important that we show this to a major publisher who says, dang, this stuff is wonderful.
Yeah.
And that's when we will publish the big reboot, which is number 2, and the third book, which is Be Your Own Masterpiece.
And you've got 5-star ratings all across the board. How do you do that? How do you approach a big house and go, hey, here's my deal, let's go?
Actually, you have to do a full submission. It's not, you don't just send them the book. You send them a sample chapter. Okay. You talk about you talk about your social media platform. You talk about 3 or 4 books that you can compare yourself to and why your book is better. Mm-hmm. It is not the old thing over the transom and they say, wow, this book is terrific, here's an advance.
Yeah,
they need to know that you have a massive social media presence so you can sell your book because they don't bother anymore. It's all you.
And you have a massive social media presence. I mean, Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Pinterest, you name it. We're just about out of time. I want to invite people to go to the website, cleanoutyourlifecloset.com. You can download a free chapter there, and then you can also buy the book, Kindle, audiobook, all that on Amazon.com. Great reviews and just a fascinating approach to being a cancer dancer and so many other things in life. So well done. Great fun to talk with you and continued success.
Thank you so much.
Listen to your 20-minute podcast with David Brower on the go. Downloads are available on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, any podcast app, and on our website at davidbrowervo.com/your20-minute podcast. Until next time, thank you for listening.